So we launched at 10 a.m. The end of that day, we were at 1.2, which ended up being the highest day one total for any TTRPG Kickstarter of all time. And that includes Avatar: The Last Airbender, which had the marketing power of Nickelodeon behind it.
That's Andy and Mikey from Legends of Avantris, whose first TTRPG campaign for the Crooked Moon raised over $4 million on Kickstarter. And with hundreds of TTRPG campaigns launching every single year, how did they stand out from the crowd and launch a successful campaign? In this video, Andy and Mikey will help me answer that question, and I'll be diving into everything that went into their successful TTRPG campaign, including their audience-first philosophy to launching products, how they built an email list of over 25,000 fans, and also why your theme matters more than almost anything else. All right, let's dive in. All right, tell us a little bit more about yourselves and what's the Crooked Moon?
We're Legends of Avantris, and we've been streaming D&D for 6 years, over 6 years now.
That's right.
And we've built up a big audience, and so we decided to basically fulfill our dream of becoming game publishers. And so we decided to dive in and create our own supplement for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. And we decided to bring folk horror to that. That's how the Crooked Moon started, a book that's going to end up being well over 400 pages.
Can you share a little bit more about how this all started?
Like Mike said, we've been streaming now for over 6 years, and we started off as friends who were just playing Dungeons and Dragons together. We weren't even streaming at the time. We just got together, we wanted to roll dice, and over time we decided that we wanted to share our stories with everyone. Anyone who was willing to watch, we were willing to share our stories with them. And it started off slow, just like most things do. We were going to play Dungeons and Dragons regardless, even if no one was watching.
Yeah.
And over time, we found that people did enjoy the stories that we were telling, and we slowly started to grow from there.
So now you have millions of followers across all your social media channels. What would you say were the most effective ways for you to grow your audience so quickly?
So we basically streamed for a good 5 years, and we always thought we were really awesome and had awesome stories. I thought we offered like a really great product and really great stories, great characters, great camaraderie, and a great culture. But we had a very small but passionate audience, which was great. And it wasn't until we started utilizing short form content in spring to summer of last year that we effectively, our audience exploded. Like, it seemed to be overnight, but it's 5 years for an overnight success. And so it was basically off to the races at that point. And so we've been kind of in a rocket sled, we've been saying, as far as the growth of our channel. And, it was all thanks to the shorts. And so, we hook them with that. And then they realize, oh my gosh, they have 5 years of these amazing stories I can sink my teeth into. And they become passionate fans pretty quickly.
What do you find to be the best way for you to communicate with your community?
We have a main Discord server that we use basically to communicate with anyone who's in there instantly. We tell people at the beginning of all of our streams, when we do the announcements, we tell everybody, hey, make sure you join our Discord. It's the single best place to get up to the minute info on our streams, on our content, what we've got going on, special projects. It's where we hang out in between streams. So if you like watching us, you can actually interact with us anytime when we're just kind of hanging out on the server. And it seemed to work really well for us. I mean, again, we went from having, just a few people on our server to well over 10,000 at this point, if not closer to 13,000.
Can you tell us a little bit more about how important email marketing was to your overall strategy?
It's really funny that when we decided to do a Kickstarter and we realized, oh wait, isn't email a big part of that? We had less than 1,000 email subscribers. I think we had 900, and most of that was just from our Patreon supporters. It wasn't until we decided to do a Kickstarter that we said, oh, well, we better get in shape and learn quick. Every single source was basically saying your email list is your most important piece of your lifeblood. You live and die by your email list. We found that to be the case, even though a lot of our audience is younger. So many of our backers came from email, and that email program is what allowed us to not just dominate our day one, but also kind of just have a record-breaking campaign.
So I'd love to talk a little bit more about how you actually grew your email list. I know that you used a reservation funnel where the first step was to have a landing page where you explain more about the Crooked Moon and allowed people to give you their email address to be notified about the launch. And then the second step, that's where you allowed them to upgrade to VIP for $1. And in exchange, you gave them an exclusive enamel pin. So can you tell us a little bit more about this strategy and why you used it?
When it comes to tabletop gaming, I think that at the end of the day, people are less excited about discounts than they are free extra stuff.
What we decided to do, Mikey had mentioned our personal marketing funnel, the top of that funnel being the shorts that we do. Chuckles the Clown is a character that Mike plays. Very, very funny. You don't need a lot of context to enjoy the character. He's just hilarious, right? And it hooks people right off the bat. So we decided, even though the Crooked Moon is very much like, you don't need to know anything about Legends of Avantris to enjoy the Crooked Moon.
Yeah.
We still decided to see what would happen if we offered up one of our most popular characters as this enamel pin, that was something special, like Mike said, a special token that you can only get by becoming a VIP and basically locking in your reservation for the Crooked Moon.
All right, a little bit of a tangent, but did you guys ever read my book Crowdfunded?
Crowdfunding, yep. Discovered that book.
All right, yes, that was just a little bit of a shameless plug, but that's because you don't have to pay for this book like Mikey did. You can get the audiobook version of it for free by just clicking the link below. Put in your email address and tell me where to send it, and again, you can get it for free. All right, let's dive back in. Let's switch gears a bit and talk about how you came up with the theme.
I can't stress the amount of research that we did. The amount of folk horror stuff that we have consumed as a group over the last year has been unbelievable. Obviously, it helps because it's all stuff that we love. And it's really great books and movies and folk tales and all sorts of books and unbelievable amounts of stuff. I just can't stress enough how important it is to make sure you do your research and you are well versed in what you are trying to achieve. The better you know the subject matter, the better you're going to write. We had kind of a lot of internal conversations where we said, you know what, our goal is if we can get this funded and we can create this book, once this product is on shelves and exists in a physical sense, we want the Crooked Moon and folk horror to be synonymous, like moving forward forever.
How important was art to the success of everything?
We made the business decision to invest tremendously on the quality and the amount of art that we would have at launch. Basically taking the risk that if we didn't do very well, it would be a massive hurdle to break even on the product. But we were confident in our vision, we were confident in the theme, and we were confident in the power, so that when we launched, maybe not 100, but dozens and dozens of art pieces that were all really amazing, and then when they are all presented in a coherent way that drives at the theme, that drives at the tone, and drives at the vision that we're going for, it's something that even people who've never played D&D we're getting excited about it.
When did you know when to ask for help, and where did you find support for your campaign?
We like to say that we are very quick to admit when we don't know something.
Yeah.
Right? If we don't know something, we're going to find somebody who does know it, and we're going to work with them to learn and get better. Not only was it just working with artists and things like that, but it was seeking out the knowledge that we didn't know. Because you don't know what you don't know. So you do the research, you fill those gaps, you learn as much as you possibly can, and then over time you become the expert, right? And then people are reaching out to you.
Launch Boom's value was extremely clear to us. Even though I have a decade of experience, I don't have a decade of experience in tabletop Kickstarter. I don't have a decade of experience in crowdfunding. And so I think that at the end of the day, when it comes to the actual process of getting people to spend their hard-earned money on your product and support your vision, that is a very specific thing that needs to happen before you have a successful Kickstarter. And I think that was the biggest benefit that Launch Boom offered us.
Can you tell us how much you actually spent during the pre-campaign and why you were comfortable spending that much?
So we spent $47,000 in pre-launch, which is, that's a lot to spend before you've made a cent in Kickstarter. That was a business decision that we made that was fueled by results. Our cost per VIP was consistent. It started off incredibly low, as we had started spending more. And as we starting to see the cost per VIP go up, we were still confident with the math that we had. We basically mathed it out of what we were hoping our average pledge would be. And we also had the benefit of about 50% or more than 50% of our VIPs came organically. Our Twitch streaming, our YouTube, our social media, all of that helped bolster the VIPs in addition to the thousands that we got from our advertising.
All right, now you need to tell us about that first day that you launched. What was that like? What did you guys do?
We streamed the whole day. We basically threw like a launch party, right? And we were on stream the whole day. At the end of that day, I think we were at 1.2 million, which ended up being the highest day one total for any TTRPG Kickstarter of all time.
The energy was electric, and everyone was able to be part of something. And watching that number grow, the entire community was excited and thrilled to watch that. And so turning it into having it be a moment for our community, I mean, was a huge part of that day one. But I also think that it was the VIP program in conjunction with the audience that we had already fostered to take basically either one, I think would have been successful, but it would not have been number one record breaking. Yeah. If it wasn't the combination of that, of having 11,000 VIPs, over 11,000 VIPs,
Yep.
and having a broader community that is very passionate about what we do and the Crooked Moon.
What were some of the most effective marketing tactics that you used during the live campaign?
There's an affectionate term that we all use in the D&D space, the tabletop space. Everybody refers to themselves and their friends as dice goblins, right? I mean, and it's true, or dice dragons, right? People just love to hoard dice. We were like, we got to give away some free dice at some point here. People are going to go nuts over free dice. So we gave away a couple of different sets, and we saved us an extra special one right for the end, give ourselves a last week booster to get there through to the end. And I think that the free dice did a lot of work.
All right, and finally, for those that are just getting started, what would be some advice that you would give?
If fans of Dune know, fear is the mind killer.
I was gonna say the same thing.
And as a pillar of Legends of Avantris, we, the four founders and the other groups who play with us and are part of Legends of Avantris, are very united in not letting fear hold us back from anything. And if we are afraid, if we are nervous, we understand that's a good thing, because it means that it matters. We understand that it matters, and we're taking it seriously.
And the other piece of advice that I have is you have to take calculated risk. You are never going to be in a spot where you're 100% certain about anything. And if you wait until you are, you stagnate and you don't move forward.
Hopefully this video gave you a lot of ideas around how to launch your own successful TTRPG. So like this video if you want to save it, and subscribe if you want more stuff like this. Also, if you want to get the audiobook version of my book crowdfunded for free, you can get it below. Just click the link below and tell me where to send it. All right, we'll see you in the next video.